Have you ever encountered a hurdle with launching or growing your business? Listen, there are two things that run a business, the back end and your soft skills.
Telling you right now, if these aren't in place, you'll lose clients and you'll lose money. You don't want that? Well, you're in the right place.
Hey, I'm Dana.
Hey, I'm Sarah.
We're your hosts of the Entrepreneur Encounter, and we're going to give you a behind-the-scenes glance into our businesses, give you genuine feedback, tips and tricks, plus occasionally bring on guests that care about supporting you to grow your business organically and nurturing authentic relationships. Are you ready? Welcome back to Entrepreneur Encounter. Today, we're diving into the topic of self-trust in business. Joining us today is Stacey Hagen. She is a holistic, trauma-informed business coach who specializes in helping coaches, healers, and therapists build a sustainable business. So welcome, Stacey.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Would you like to kind of take a few minutes and explain what is a trauma-informed business coach and like how you even ended up or began this journey that you're on?
So I think people are becoming more aware of the term trauma and trauma-informed. And all that means is I've gone through a certification program to educate myself on how to support people who have experienced trauma in the past, which is a large number of people, probably almost everyone, and be able to kind of hold that safe space for people as a business coach. So I don't help people like heal their trauma directly. I support people in growing their businesses, but I can hold this space for whatever comes up, because I think life and business are so intertwined that when we're working on our business, like life stuff just comes up, especially in terms of like marketing and visibility, anything in the past that has affected our ability to show up and be seen and be heard comes to the forefront to be dealt with. So that's something that I support my clients with. And I call myself a holistic business coach because I work on the mindset, the strategy piece, and the energy. So my background was in corporate marketing, and then I came to coaching in 2015 and started out as a life coach and then became a business coach. So I like to combine all the pieces. The true coaching, which is really about mindset and action, along with the marketing and business strategy as well.
I like how it's very all well-rounded and intertwined together.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely talk about that so often on how your personal life and your professional life are intertwined, because whatever happens in work is going to affect your personal life and vice versa. It's so true. And I find it very interesting how you went from the corporate setting. I mean, I think a lot of us have, but just to go from corporate to coaching and like what you do, it's different, because obviously when you're in corporate, you think of the suit and tie people. And then when you're coaching people to help them run their business, it's more relaxed, would you say, in a sense?
Totally. I officially left the corporate world in 2015. So it's been a while since I've even been in corporate, but I was in corporate in the days of we commuted to the office, we dressed in business casual, and we worked from 8 to 5. So that's part of the reason I came to entrepreneurship, is I wanted the freedom. So definitely it has a more relaxed feeling, but it just brings up so much other stuff. When I was in corporate marketing, I didn't have imposter syndrome, right? But then when it comes time to like market your own self as whatever you're doing, that's when all that stuff comes up. A lot of times we didn't have to deal with it so much in corporate.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
So one of the things in our pre-recording call, you mentioned self-trust in business. And I think with the thought process of imposter syndrome, you really don't think about it until you are launching your business and you have to put yourself in the limelight. And if you're someone that is not an introvert and does not like that, you have to not only try and grow a business, but learn to trust yourself that you, in fact, do know what you're doing, and then convince other people that you do, in fact, know what you're doing. So can you explain what self-trust means in the context of entrepreneurship?
Yeah. Self-trust can really be the antidote to imposter syndrome. Because it's so normal that we experience imposter syndrome. I think it's like 80% of people, maybe it's even higher than that. So it's almost like, okay, let's just expect that we're going to experience that. So how do we counter it so it's not totally holding us back from whatever we want to do? And that's where I think self-trust is really important. Like, yes, it's important that you are skilled at what you do, right? You can actually help clients, or you can do what you're saying you're doing. That's your skill set. But then other than that, it's really about the inner work. So being able to trust yourself and really rely on yourself, not that you'll know the answer 100% of the time, but that you'll be able to figure it out. Like you'll be able to take the next step. You'll be able to handle whatever happens, whether it's like a troll on social media or no one signing up for your thing, or whatever it is. Like just being able to trust yourself to handle it is such a huge piece of it, I think.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that because I know from experience, I am more introverted, but I feel like I'm becoming more out of my shell, extroverted. But it takes time to build that confidence on building the self-trust, because when you start as an entrepreneur, you're starting this business, of course you want to have something of your own. But like you were saying, that self-doubt, like, am I really good at what I'm doing? But it's really good to maybe have those conversations with other people that have been in your shoes. Like maybe if you're just starting out, talk to somebody that's been in business for 15 years just to see where they're at and know that that's where you can go. Like, it's possible.
Yeah, that is a great tip for newbies, to talk to people who have been through this, because I feel like I haven't met anyone who didn't experience some imposter syndrome and self-doubt. Is purely because like we're doing something that's totally new. Like you've never started a business before. Yeah, of course you don't know everything. So some of it is just like being patient and kind with ourselves, but ideally like deepening that sense of self-trust as we go.
That's always my biggest advice in cultivating some sort of self-trust or confidence, is finding a community or a tribe or something, even if it's just one other person. Because in my experience, I was working a full-time job and trying to grow a business during the pandemic and had 3 children, like I think under the age of 8 or something. It was a lot. So I needed someone to talk to just to like get out of my own brain and think outside the box, and to help me stay focused on, I don't need the prettiest website right now. I just need to get my offer out there and talk to as many people as I can on my short little lunch break that I got, so that I could get the clients to quit my 9 to 5 to then have that balance. And it took 2 years and my community like essentially shoving me off the cliff to take that leap to finally do it full time. Because I was like, I love and thrive on consistency and a nice, strong foundation. And I liked having, okay, every 2 weeks I get this paycheck. And being an entrepreneur, that may not always be the case. And that was very scary for me at the time. I mean, it's still scary now, but I know I have my people behind me. So if I do fall, they're there to like pick up the slack or to give me that pep talk that I need. Like, you will find your client. You will do this. You have done it before. So I have those reminders.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And it can be lonely starting a business, especially if you were in a corporate office and you had a team or friends at corporate, and now you're just like sitting alone in your home office on your laptop. Like your mind can spin out really easily. So yeah, I agree that community support, or just having someone to talk to who understands and gets it and can help you focus on like what's most important.
What are some of your strategies or exercises with your clients that you implement or suggest for them to build their own self-trust?
So I think something that happens with new entrepreneurs, and this happened to me too, I'm sure. I mean, we see other people doing things on social media or promoting this and that, and it seems like, okay, this is getting traction. This person is really successful here. Why don't I just emulate what they're doing? When that, like, we all try it, right? But then it never works. And we're like, why doesn't it work? Well, you're a totally different person. We each have our own values and goals, and we have our own personalities and preferences. So, like straight off the bat, if a client is starting with me, we spend some time getting really clear on what they want for their business. There's a lot of noise out there about like making your first 100K and selling out your program. And it's like, why don't you just pause and ask yourself, okay, what is it that I really want? Like, why did I start this business in the first place? What would success really feel like to me? And how would I want to serve clients? Like, not everyone wants to do one-on-one. Not everyone wants to sell a course. So you get to create your business in your way. But first you have to tap into like, what is it that you want? And what is it that you need from your business? And the more you can get used to like tapping into your own inner guide and listening to it, I think the more you can start building that self-trust muscle.
I love that. Defining success is hard.
Yeah.
That's so funny because when I started my business, I had no idea what I was doing. I had nobody to lean on. I had nobody to talk to. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I think the first 6 months, I started Instagram and I heard all the noise. So I deleted it completely, like, see you bye. Like, I don't want to do this because I was so overwhelmed. And it does happen to a lot of people because you get so overwhelmed by all the noise. There's so much. You have your phone and whatever you're on, people are like, well, do it this way or do it that way. And I think that anybody starting out, yeah, you have to have a plan. Like you said, Stacey, what do you want to do? And then go with what you want to do for your business and not, well, this person's making thousands of dollars a month. Well, I mean, if you want that, then yeah, you can have that, but you have to work towards that. You can't be exactly the same as this person.
Yeah. And you don't want to be exactly the same as that person. I mean, there's probably a better way for you to get there. That's your own way. But like you get there by tapping into what's important to you. And the more you can get used to tapping into your own wisdom to make decisions, even if it's like, should I sign up for this course or that course? Should I hire this coach or that coach? The more you can tap into your own knowing and trust yourself, the easier those decisions become.
For sure.
Hey there, listeners. Ever feel like you're struggling to connect with customers or lead your team effectively? That's where soft skills come in.
Entrepreneur Encounter isn't just another podcast. We're a community dedicated to helping early stage entrepreneurs like you master the soft skills that make or break a business.
Technical skills are important, but without communication, collaboration, and confidence, your business might never get off the ground to the next level.
In our membership, Dana and I share actionable insights and tips to help you nurture the soft skills you need to thrive.
Give you access to bonus content, workshops, and a network of like-minded entrepreneurs who are all on the same journey.
We'll teach you how to boost your confidence,
become a leader who inspires and motivates your team,
navigate conflict like a pro,
to resolve disagreements without drama and build stronger relationships,
communicate clearly and concisely, get your message across, build trust, and close the deal.
If you're ready to take your business to the next level, join the circle by clicking the link in the show notes. I feel like I had to learn, we had this in a previous episode, where we listen to our bodies, like really sit in the feelings was a recent conversation we had. So like as I was thinking about success or how do I know I made it type moments, like what does that feel like? And what does it then look like? When you do start a business, you do see a lot of those 6 figures and $1,000 a day or whatever the like crazy numbers that there are. And I was like, I mean, that would be wonderful. But that I felt more stressed trying to aim for that line of like eyesight of success that I was like, no, we can't do that. So for me, my success is my bills are paid. And then I get to step away from my desk and take my kids to the park in the middle of the day if I want to. And then I can pick up after they go to bed or something like that. Supreme flexibility in I don't like feeling chained to my desk and I don't like feeling like I have to do a very rigid schedule. I thrive on schedules. I am a big time blocker, but I like having that flexibility of my kids are home today and they need more of my attention for whatever reason today. So I can give that to them and then I can come serve my clients or serve my own business, however I need to that day.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great example of like knowing your values and knowing what's important to you and then creating your business around it. Because most of us didn't do this so we would work more or even work as many hours as we worked in corporate like that.
Yeah, setting boundaries. Definitely, I've come to realize that I've experienced it in the last couple months trying to set my boundaries, and people get really like upset about it. I'm like, well, I cannot do that. Like, it's tough because obviously as a business owner, you want opportunities, but there's going to be times where you're going to be like, I'm at full capacity. Like, I want a day off. You know what I mean? Like, and when we're talking about corporate world, working there, and I remember when I worked in office, I felt extremely guilty for taking days off. And I was sick for months. I'm telling you, I was so sick. I ended up in the hospital for 3 days. I think there was one day they finally said, you need to go home. Well, I've been expressing the fact that I was sick. It was right before COVID happened. So I'm guessing I had it before it was like breaking news. And then I had to take 3 days off like a couple months after that because my kid got sick and was in the hospital and I got like chewed out for it. Like, you can't leave work. So now when you start your business, you feel it's the same way. You feel guilty for not working, but you have to let go of that guilt.
Yeah. For me, I felt at least that I was kind of limited on what boundaries I was able to set in corporate. I mean, your boss asked you to do something, or you have a deadline, or you have a project to get done. You just have to do it. And now when you have your own business, you can decide like, no, I'm not working on the weekends, or no, I'm not taking a call at 5 p.m. on Friday. And you get to decide. It's like putting on your CEO hat and saying like, no, I'm not going to do this. Maybe I used to have to do this. I don't have to do it anymore.
I think that was the hardest thing for me was I still have a client and we had to have a very scary conversation because he would text me at like 8, 9 o'clock at night. And I was like, I don't want to talk to you right now. I have to do other things. I luckily do have a contract. And so that's something I pulled out and I was like, per our contract, these are my hours of communication.
Yeah.
If you think of something at 9 o'clock at night, I need you to put it in Slack and I will get it the first thing in the morning. But please don't text me unless the business house is on fire. This was not a business fire moment. I was like, this is my family time. This is my me time. I may be working on something because my laptop is like literally an extension of my arm. It goes wherever I go. I was like, but I cannot talk to you at 9 o'clock at night because I will have a hard time then stopping it. We'll be talking until 10, like going back and forth. Then I won't get the things done or I'm missing out on something. So, scary.
Yeah. Boundaries with clients. I feel like we all have that learning curve. I mean, it's amazing to put it in your contract. And then sometimes people don't read the contract or they forget. And then you have to draw that line. And maybe you have to draw it over and over. And you just kind of have to get comfortable doing that.
So one thing that I have been learning about or diving into is like a daily practice, I guess, to help with that mindset and like growth mindset, self-trust, all of that. Do you have any daily practices that you use personally or that you suggest early stage entrepreneurs implement when they're just getting started?
So something I do, I leave the first half an hour to hour of my day, like for me to just like get settled. Like, okay, what are my business priorities for the day? What decisions do I need to make? What absolutely has to get done today? That's just for me before I start taking clients or anything like that. Because I have a lot of one-on-one clients, I will like have at least half an hour, ideally in between sessions, where I kind of just make sure that I get a break. I get to go outside, or maybe I sit in meditation, or maybe I move around a little bit to kind of like reset myself. Because I think those of us in like client, especially one-on-one client roles, it can be easy to get maxed out on your client's energy or what's going on with them, or are they in a stressed out mood? And so being able to kind of take a break and come back to yourself and come back to your body. And probably as simple as like sitting with your eyes closed and taking some deep breaths and just feeling into your body. That can even be a reset.
Oh, I love that.
Get moving. That's a good one because I feel sometimes I get so into my work that I don't even get up until it's time to go.
Yeah. Sometimes I find just like getting up out of my chair and like shaking it out is like a reset moment, or literally going outside for a minute or two.
That's giving me like Grey's Anatomy vibes, like after they've had that stressful day and they're just randomly dancing in the living room.
Totally.
But that is, in fact, so helpful. Literally before this podcast, I was talking to my husband and I was like, I'm going to go walk around before I have to sit down again. And like, I was walking around the yard, just walking and moving my body.
Just hanging out.
Yeah. Those are good practices to reset your nervous system and to get the energy out. So whether it's like walking in the grass, shaking out your body, dancing, whatever it is, it really is resetting your nervous system too. So important.
I love that. That's going to be like the tagline for this episode. Move your body.
Speaking of like going outside, I believe going outside is important. If the weather's nice, I noticed that if I'm trying to be creative and I'm at my desk all day, I cannot. Like I'll be doing my client work. I'm like, oh, I want to go write a blog post and I'm stuck. So I have to like go outside and like the creative juices start to flow. So I think like you were saying, just like get up and like do something for a few minutes so that you can get into another mindset to do something else.
Totally. Yeah. It really helps kind of break up tasks and especially get into creativity. Like sometimes I have to switch my environment if I'm not feeling creative. Like, oh, I have to go work out of a coffee shop or a different room or listen to a different playlist or something.
Ooh, what's on your playlist?
Oh, it so depends on the day. I'm a person that if I'm writing or doing like a very mental oriented task, I cannot listen to music with lyrics. I don't know. It's this weird thing. My playlist for that is like called upbeat instrumental or something, or lo-fi beats or something like that.
Yes, that's where my mind went. I love lo-fi videos on YouTube.
Totally. It is great for like, I'm writing a blog post or I'm writing a newsletter or something like that. If I'm doing something like more mindless that doesn't require so much of that part of my brain, I could listen to at least usually energizing. So maybe energizing pop music or even podcasts. So I try to keep podcasts to my walk. So I'm like kind of like learning something as I'm walking.
Habit stacking. I'm all for that.
I'm on the way other side of the spectrum when I
Yeah. With music.
I listen to a lot of rock, alternative metal.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny when I tell people that. They're like, you do? I'm like, yes, I do. So I have to listen to music at all times. Even if it has lyrics, I still listen to it, but it helps me get into the creative mode too.
Mm-hmm.
I even like write as a hobby. So I've written so many things just listening to music. It helps me, but everybody's different and everybody has their taste on what they listen to. So that is fine.
Yeah, totally. I think it's fun to experiment too, to like just put on a playlist and see like, oh, is this helping or hindering, or how are you feeling?
No, if I put on like upbeat pop music, because I still listen to 90s pop, I can't work because like you want to bop your head to it. I'm like, I don't have time for that right now.
Yeah.
I think that helps my overcharged brain because I am bopping to that I'm like, all right, let's go. We can like crank out the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm like at the end of the day and I'm just trying to like low key work on stuff, like one small task at a time, I'm not in a rush. That's where the lo-fi music will chime in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
My kids will usually just tune me out half the time. It's fine. These have been great. Now I want to have a entrepreneur encounter playlist or something like that. I don't know. We'll have to play with that.
Yeah.
But I'm so excited because I love music. I think it's a great one.
Yeah. And you could have a few different ones, like those like energizing tasks and one for those more mellow tasks.
That would be too funny.
Yes. I'm going to add it. So listeners,
song recommendations.
Wait for it. Well, thank you, Stacey, for coming on. I loved this and really diving into self-trust because that is, in my opinion, probably one of the harder ones when you launch a business that you go through. And no matter how much you talk about it ahead of time, I don't think you fully understand until you're going through those motions of, oh, well, what if no one listens? Or what if no one likes us? Or whatever the case may be. I know we went through it with this podcast. So thank you for sharing those like tips and tricks with us. For anyone that is listening, how can they connect with you?
So my website is Create Coaching Consulting, and I'm also on Instagram at create_coaching.
I love it. We will have that in the show notes for you guys. And remember, cultivating self-trust, as we've said a few times, is an ongoing journey. I don't think there's ever really an end point. There's just that visionary goal, and you continue to work and trust that process as you go. Until next time.
Bye.